You wake up, you roll out of bed, your mom tells you, hey, don't forget your sword. You never know. Maybe an ancient evil might get unleashed today. And so you go down to the town square for the annual whatever festival, and, well, guess what happens? Yep, you open a portal into some other time period or world, and everything goes haywire. Your village is destroyed, and now it's time to avenge the countless deaths. Either way, you started in a safe place, and now you're on an adventure. Hi, folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 games where you start your journey at home. Starting off at number 10, we're going to hit Clair Obscur Expedition 33 right off. Sandfall Interactive has cited Final Fantasy X as a major influence, one of their primary influences for Expedition 33, and you can really see how the game is structured around a similar structure. It's essentially one long quest from one side of the map to the other. In Final Fantasy X, they were going to Xanarkand to defeat Sin. In this, they're going to go kill the Paintress. It's a game where you start somewhere, with the vast majority of the game is just journeying to get somewhere else. With this game, the story starts in your hometown of not Paris, called Lumiere. The game really makes a big deal about the whole expedition. You spend a lot of time exploring this place, talking to people, finding little secrets, and completing side quests. The game goes out of its way to build a sense of place here and gives everyone a history that is alluded to before sending you off on a journey. It makes for a slow start to the game, but it's essentially world building that establishes the stakes and grounds the characters in a place that you actually get a little attached to.
What are we gonna do, huh? Tell me. What are we gonna do? We're gonna take down the Paintress, just the three of us? My gun and your sparks?
I didn't take you for a coward.
I'm not a coward.
You swore the oath. When one falls, we continue.
Yes, I know.
When one falls. When one falls. Not if, when.
It's an effective opening chapter before everything goes to hell when the actual expedition starts. And unlike a lot of modern RPGs, you can't come back until the very end of the game. The lack of easy fast travel makes it so you're generally always moving forward in Clair Obscur, and that makes the game feel more like a journey. You eventually do get to free roam the world, but it does take a long time for that to happen. Most of the game is spent on a pretty linear course, and that makes the game feel more like an epic quest rather than meandering wanderings that a lot of RPGs, especially in the last 5 years, have felt. One major thing a story needs to feel like a true journey is it's that forward momentum, right? I feel this game just nails that. It also helps you're always literally moving forward, starting on one side of the map. Paintress is on the other side of the map. You're just constantly moving towards the Paintress. Makes sense. Death Stranding 2, for as weird as Kojima games tend to get, the man knows when to keep things simple. The start of Death Stranding sticks to the classics. Sam's living happily with Lou before things go bad. They got a nice setup here too, for an underground bunker anyway. It looks pretty cozy. You just can't have everybody living a relatively good life forever though. There wouldn't be a game if that happened. So of course the story takes a dark turn when Sam's hideaway gets attacked while he's out on a mission in Mexico. That's what prompts him to assist in connecting Australia, so he begins a journey that feels even bigger than the one from the first game. Both games give you that feeling of going on a long, arduous journey, but the sequel gets some points for having all of Australia be on one map, and it's much more of a road trip style adventure where you're constantly pushing forward into new and unusual territory. The first game had a lot more back and forth. Progress was stop and start. The trip through America felt a little truncated, a little rushed. Death Stranding 2's Australia is much bigger, much more varied, offers a lot more unique challenges for each biome that eventually you pass through. This is all in terms of degrees, of course. Both games give a fantastic sense of adventure, but for this list in particular, Death Stranding 2 is, you start in Sam's literal home. At number 8 is God of War, the 2018 reboot. The opening of the Norse trilogy feels like a statement of intent. This was not going to be the same God of War you remember from the PS2, PS3 days. Instead of a bombastic set-piece extravaganza, it starts off slow and quiet. It takes time introducing us or reintroducing us to the characters. Obviously, there's one old and several new. Then it throws a big set-piece at you that sets up the primary conflict of the story.
How incredibly disappointing.
Takes a little while to get there, though. The prologue of God of War is all about Kratos' little hut out in the woods. Feels like a home base until Baldur shows up in Rex's place, forcing Kratos to leave his hermit existence and travel out to the greater world. It's a simple but effective start to the game, does a great job making it feel like a big deal when you pass by the war. It's that it hid Kratos and his family from the gods and start exploring the wider world. The game isn't much of an all-or-nothing journey where you leave Kratos' house and never return. There's one memorable moment later in the game where you do have to come back, and in general, the game doesn't feel like quite as much of an epic journey as other games on the list, but I mean, you do start off at home. It's also just a really iconic home, and the game's opening sequence is super memorable. And number 7 is Metro 2033. You don't see a lot of FPS games where the game starts off getting out of bed like an opening to Chrono Trigger type thing. Yeah, don't worry. I'm not going to not mention Chrono Trigger, but I don't know, Metro 2033 really tries to hammer home how this game is all about your journey. Few games are as dedicated to going forward as this one is. An entire game's literally set in a subway, and almost every major location is some form of large linear passageway. It's all about traveling from one end of the Metro to the other. All the games in the Metro series have some kind of destination, but the original is the one that sticks to the theme the closest. You go to a place, something might happen, but your goal is always go to the next place. The second game definitely gets deeper into the politics of the Metro, but the first is certainly a tour around that. Most importantly, you never actually manage to get home. You can't even if you want to. It's a relentlessly linear game, but in the case of this game, that makes it feel more like a true adventure. And number 6 is Xenoblade Chronicles. JRPGs love a good doomed hometown, don't they? Like I said in the intro, if the game starts with your main guy waking up in bed, got about a 50-50 chance. That house and the village it's in are gonna be a raging inferno by the end of the prologue. And honestly, in comparison to the other games, including other games from the Xeno series, the hometown of Colony 9 gets off rather lightly. Yes, it gets attacked by unkillable rampaging monsters, and the main character's childhood sweetheart gets murked, but the town's not completely destroyed, just a little singed. So there's nothing stopping you from frequently returning back to this one if you want to. Does maybe impede the whole you can't go back type adventure feeling somewhat, but Xenoblade feels like a grand journey because you're not just exploring some basic fantasy overworld. Instead, the remnants of humanity live on the giant corpse of the Bionis. Your town is down on the calf, and your travels eventually bring you to the head and beyond. So every time you manage to get further up this thing's body, it feels like a big deal. The first time you exit a cave out onto the Bionis leg and see this vast landscape before you, it feels like a crazy adventure. Like you're traveling through this impossibly gigantic creature's body. The music swells, the camera zooms out, you see everything. It's an epic sight, and it perfectly captures a feeling of, wow, I'm not in Kansas anymore, am I? And number 5 is Horizon Zero Dawn. Sony games love starting you off at home, don't they? Second Horizon game feels a bit more like an adventure than the first, but one big problem, that one doesn't start you off at home, first game does. And to Zero Dawn's credit, they do a great job establishing your tribe and the starting location. You make it feel like a home. So when you finally do leave Nora territory and head to the west, the game feels like you're really stepping out into the unknown.
What are they hunting out there? Beyond the embrace. Can't be just one machine.
The actual journey kind of begins and ends with you leaving the homeland and traveling out to the big city, but that part where you're entering the desert and you have no idea what to expect is kind of one of the best moments in any open world game. It's another home that doesn't get destroyed. You can go back to whenever you want, but past the opening chapters, there's not really a lot of reason to. In terms of the story, there's not really anything plot significant there until much later in the game. So not a perfect example, but the game spends a lot of time at home watching the main character grow up and be this sort of outsider to this society, and it does feel like a big deal when you actually leave.
Oh, come on.
And number 4 is The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, the first. Again, that literally starts at home. First cutscene is set in main character Estelle's house. Entire first chapter of the game is in her hometown of Roulette. A lot of time spent giving this town a sense of place, too. NPCs have little stories you can follow over the prologue. It's just an opening, but a lot of time is spent here. You're in this town for as long or longer than the length of some of the games on this list. All that and it doesn't even get destroyed. Despite that, the game manages to feel like an epic journey from home for a simple reason. When you move on to a new region, you can't but go back. You can't. You're always moving forward in each chapter. There's no hub, no place to return to, and that goes a long way towards making this game feel like a road trip. It's sort of the feeling that a lot of open RPGs are actually missing. And while it does limit the player and force them to either finish everything they want or do miss out, essentially, ultimately the no backtracking decision was one of the major reasons this game's so memorable. A lot of RPGs start off in a town, but few are as memorable as Rolling.
View's nice from up here, isn't it? We can see the entire region.
Yeah.
And number 3 is Earthbound. So many RPGs are about the journey, but this classic SNES RPG captures that hitchhiking sense of adventure better than a lot of them. The modern day-ish setting really helps sell the illusion. You're not just figuratively going on a road trip. There are roads and cars. Progression is linear. It's all about traveling from one place to another, and this game really emphasizes that linearity with the town names: One Net, Tucson, Threed, Fourside. They're literally counting with the names of the cities, and while the number naming convention goes away after those cities, the sense of adventure does not. And like so many other classic RPGs, it starts with you getting out of bed. The starting town of One Net is iconic: the arcade, the police station, the public library. It's like the perfect example of the idyllic small American town. Like, just being in this place is a nostalgia bomb, and kind of was intended to be even at the time, even though it kind of existed in that time, weirdly enough. I don't know how to explain it, but if you were around back when it came out, you know what I'm talking about. Like, the concept of home is a really prominent theme in the game, despite the fact you don't actually come back to this home of yours until pretty near the end of the game. There's a mechanic in this game where if you go too long without calling your mom, you get a negative status effect called homesick. I don't know, the lack of a world map manages to make the world feel bigger somehow, and the real world inconveniences of travel are actually important here, where they're kind of just glossed over in other games. Like, you can get stuck in a traffic jam in Earthbound. How many other RPGs can say that? And number 2 is Dungeon Siege. This is the dungeon crawler streamlined down to its most bare essentials. The entire game is a straight line and non-stop journey forward that never stops. I am absolutely going to give Eric some shit for writing that line. A non-stop journey that never stops. Let it be known, that was Eric. Join the 1% Club some point in the next couple of weeks. I will mention that in a Falcon Show episode exclusively to 1% members on Saturdays. Anyway, Dungeon Siege is kind of it's a pretty basic game. The consistent forward momentum really does give it a different feeling, though. You're kind of on an epic quest across the entire world. You literally start off at your farmhouse with a frickin' pitchfork. You gotta fight off some goblins. There's no side quests, no major branching paths. It's forward. Towns are kind of pit stops, places you can refill on potions, dump your loot, but there's not a lot else to do in these places. You kind of just always pass them through. This isn't one of those games where you find a new town and you're stuck doing side quests for 12 hours. Towns are for recurring companions, buying weapons, armor, stowing loot. There's no fast travel, and while there's nothing stopping you from just walking back to your house, there's literally no reason to go back there. Enemies never respawn, so it's not like there's quests you can miss out on. There's a few rare instances where you can go back to town, but 90% of the time, you're not. Almost every other Diablo-like out there is split up into hubs, but not Dungeon Siege. It's kind of a weird game, but one in a brainless, sort of fun way. And the sense of adventure it gives you is just second to none. And finally, at number 1, it's Fallout 3. A good half of the mainline Fallout games start you off in a vault of some form, but none of them feel quite like home in a way Vault 101 does. The game literally starts with your character as a baby and follows multiple vignettes of them growing up from, little vault dweller to big one. It's the first time a Fallout game gave us a picture on what vault life was actually like. And for old school fans of the series willing to go along with Bethesda's vision, it was pretty satisfying. On repeat playthroughs, the Prologue section is maybe a little too long and slow, but that first time through is pretty magical, and the first time you leave the vault is just a really iconic Bethesda moment. Even if that wasteland, revealing a vista of gray and green rocks and piles of garbage, isn't exactly blowing anyone's socks off anymore. Another thing that really works in this game's favor is once you leave the vault, there's no going back. I mean, you can come back. There's a side quest where you can deal with the fallout from you and your dad exiting the vault, but once that's over, the vault doors just close forever. Fallout 3 does trigger that wanderlust when you first exit the vault. Big reason why exiting the wasteland feels like such a big deal is how much time you spend in your home vault. No other game in the franchise has managed to make it feel like such a big deal to leave.
Now that everyone has managed to find the classroom, we can finally get started. No talking, and keep your eyes to yourselves.
That's all I've got for you today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. Become a member of the 1% Club with the join button. That gives you access to the Falcon Show every Saturday. We're having a blast doing that. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time right here on Game Ranks.